This collection of 60 stunning historical photos, a pyramid of 12,000 German helmets on Victory Walk leading to Grand Central Station in New York in 1918. Al Capone after his arrest while attempting to enter Miami, Florida in 1930. Milk deliveries made by dog-drawn carts in the 1880s. A Victorian widow captured in an eerie portrait from the 1870s. Raoul Pescara taking off with a 16-bladed helicopter in France in 1924, attempting an endurance record. The first computer delivered to an office in 1957. Alfred Hitchcock directing on the set of The Birds, 1963. Traveler James Rickelton with two giants from Kashmir, measuring 2.4 and 2.2 meters tall, in India in 1903. The magnificent Claudia Cardinale in the 1960s. A crawling toy in the USA in 1871, used to frighten misbehaving children. Aleutian clothing made from sea lion intestines in Alaska in 1900. Jose Maifre setting a speed record of 205 kilometers per hour on a bicycle in 1962. 3 Royal Air Force cadets practicing formation, flying with bikes fitted with wings in 1942. The mayor of St. Petersburg with his deputy, Vladimir Putin, in 1992. Al Pacino arrested on charges of attempted robbery in 1961. The U.S. Capitol under construction in Washington, D.C. in 1861. Diving suits from 1613 and 1797. A guard dog preventing a cow from escaping in the USA in 1968. A sleigh leaving a ski jump in London in 1933. Bertha Benz, wife of Carl Benz, the first woman in the world to drive a car in 1888. A date with a circus performer in the 1920s. A version of the Green Monster, a car designed to set a land speed record in 1970. A teenager on a moped jumping over his friends in the USA in 1972. A mobile pigeon post service during World War I in Germany in 1915. Newlyweds Barack Obama and Michelle Robinson in Chicago in 1992. Scots preparing to leave for the front in 1915. Corsets used to tightly cinch waists in the Victorian era and their consequences. Nuns relaxing at slot machines in Sydney, Australia, in 1971. Ballerinas peeking into the men's locker room in Paris in 1948. Child soldiers in Angola in 1975. A French infantryman with a helmet and face shield during World War I. Children making a kite out of worthless money during hyperinflation in Germany in 1923. An example of X-ray technology from the early 1900s. A DJ assistant in a U.S. radio station in 1944 with records stacked in the background. A gun with a camera that takes a photo just before firing in 1938. A girl explaining to a lifeguard why she's sunbathing topless, despite a sign for men requiring them to wear shirts, in the USA in 1939. A car tested for lightning resistance with a 3 million volt discharge in 1942. English communists fighting police during an anti-unemployment march in London in 1930. An Electrolux salesman at a nudist camp in Sweden in the 1940s. Finnish troops using a homemade slingshot to throw grenades at invading Soviet troops in 1939. Men constructing a death mask in New York around 1908. Captain Paul Tibbets 1 minute before takeoff to drop the bomb on Hiroshima in 1945. Sumo wrestlers in Japan in 1890. Experimental boots made by U.S. Special Forces for use in the Vietnam War in the 1970s. An electric bath from 1910 used by doctors to treat rheumatism with electricity and water. Members of the German Light Machine Gun Bicycle Corps wearing gas masks while standing beside their bicycles in Austria around 1939. An opium den in Shanghai in 1936. The Wild West Show, with Buffalo Bill Cody and several Pawnee and Sioux performers in Staten Island, New York in 1886. Helen Wills of the United States playing during a doubles tennis match at the 1924 Paris Summer Olympics. Members of the German Bicycle Corps participating in a parade in front of Adolf Hitler on his 50th birthday on April 20th, 1939. Fishing failures in 1942. Radio girls adorned with antennas in a Viennese revue around 1924. Benito Mussolini taking a drive with his pet lion cub named Racine, 1924. A 65 centimeters refractor telescope installed at the Berlin University Observatory in Babelsberg, Germany, around 1924. Inventor Hugo Gernsback modeling his television goggles for Life magazine in 1963. A Russian soldier involved in a misunderstanding with a German woman in Berlin in 1945 over a bicycle he wished to buy from her. Women assembling telephones in a London factory in 1924 following the introduction of automatic telephone exchanges. American servicemen riding a 5-seater bicycle in England on May 19, 1944. Marilyn Monroe on the set of Some Like It Hot in 1959. The moment when 13-year-old British Princess Elizabeth met her future husband in 1939.